The purpose of a placement exam is to measure a person's language ability in order to place them into a class that's appropriate for their level of ability in a language school. Every language school in the world needs a really good, reliable, efficient, and accurate placement exam. The Oxford Online Placement Test is precisely designed to do this. My name is Jim Purpura, and I work in language assessment at Teachers College at Columbia University in New York City. And I'm going to talk to you today about the Oxford Online Placement Test. The Oxford Online Placement Test is pretty convenient in that it's delivered online, and it's also scored automatically online so that you'll get an instant score. The great thing about the exam is that it's computer adaptive. In other words, we can give you an exam, we can give you questions, a very few number of questions, and you can get a pretty accurate score in terms of what your language ability is with those few questions. The scores that are produced then are aligned with the Common European Framework of Reference. And this framework is used basically all over Europe and more around the world. It consists of a set of descriptors that describe basically different levels of language ability from beginning to advanced, or from A1 to C2 in the Common European Framework language. The test is currently designed to have two sections. One is the use of English section, and the other part is the listening section. The use of English section is designed basically to measure your grammatical knowledge, students' grammatical knowledge. And the underlying design here is a little bit different from some of the other exams that are out there, in that based on my own research and current research in form meaning mappings in second language acquisition, the test is designed not only to measure all those grammatical forms that we think about when we use language as a resource for communication, but also how do these forms relate to meaning. And this is what makes this particular exam different from some of the other exams out there. After all, meaning is why we learn languages and why we use languages. And this has been something that's been neglected in the past, in my view. The second part of the exam, the listening section, is also a little bit different from some of the other exams, because the purpose here is to get at meaning once again, but this time meaning in the context of the oral channel. You know, we're not just saying that the Oxford Online Placement Test is accurate and efficient because we think it is. We've actually done an incredible amount of research related to this exam. The research begins with the actual pre-testing. Before we even begin pre-testing, these items are scrutinized by at least 4 researchers at Columbia University. Then we go ahead and we administer the exam in schools in what are called pre-tests. And we then do a series of statistical analyses on the items. And basically what we're looking at is, do the items function as we hope they would function? Once we are pretty confident that we have a set of items that are functioning the way we want them to function, with difficulties at all different levels across the CEFR, then we can put together what are called pilot tests, and we pilot these tests in a whole range of different schools around the world. And we get the data, and part of the data set that we collect is not only information about the items, but also how the examinees are placed in their schools, what courses they're taking, so that we're able to then relate these items and their difficulty levels to where they are in terms of the CEFR. One thing that's really interesting about the Oxford Online Placement Test is that the system is customizable. In other words, in addition to having the scores and how they relate to the CEFR in the data file, You can add different columns to the system based on demographics, for example, males and females, or based on the native language, or based on country of origin. And then you can look at groups of students and make some pedagogical decisions according to the types of scores that you have. So this is a really great thing for language schools. The final thing I'd like to say about the Oxford Online Placement Test is that it's easy to access. It's all online. Nothing has to be installed on your own computer. It can be managed online, and it's easy to administer, so that students can do all of this online. There's no paper and pencil that you have to give out and correct and score. It's managed for you. Also there's a great set of management tools that can be adapted and customized according to the schools. So if you need to test your students, I suggest that you look at some sample questions, you look at some of the information about the test, and you learn more about the Oxford Online Placement Test.